Welcome to the Metal Detecting Podcast, brought to you by XP Metal Detectors. We're digging the plugs and pinpointing the topics you want to hear. Now here's your hosts, Dave Kimball and Grant Hansen.
This show is brought to you by XP Metal Detectors. XP Metal Detectors is a high-end, innovative metal detector company with great machines and great pinpointers. For more information, go to xpmetaldetectors.com. For a dealer near you, try a Google search or go to xpdeus-usa.com. Hello and welcome to the Metal Detecting Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Kimball, coming to you from Central Oklahoma, and I am joined today by my co-host, Grant Hansen, coming to you from New Jersey. How's it going, Grant?
It is going well. So far, the fall season has been nice. I'm kind of getting some anxiety that winter is coming, so I want to try and get out and detect as much as I can before everything freezes over. And I think you know what I'm talking about. You were getting some snow flurries today, weren't you?
Yes, and I hate it. I am not a cold weather person, and it's been like really cold over here today and the last couple days actually. And right now it is probably about 33 a little bit ago, and then it was like 32. But it's like little light, misting, snowy kind of flurries. It's like miserable. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't either. But for me, if the ground isn't frozen, then I'll go out no matter how cold it is. But once it freezes over, it's game over.
Oh, yeah. Well, the ground don't really freeze over here that much, and it's just, I don't know, I just don't like the cold. Oklahoma is really windy when it's cold, too, so it's just unbearable. At least for me, anyways.
Yeah, and we're just on the heels of Halloween. I hope everyone's still enjoying some candy, but this really does mark the beginning of the holiday season, and I've already started making my wish list for Santa on some of the kinds of things I need. A few things are metal detecting related, so I'd be interested if anyone in the chat wants to put down anything they're hoping to get this year. It'd be interesting to see what everyone's hoping for.
I can't believe it's already November. I mean, geez, this year kind of flew by quick. I'm already, I got a birthday coming up here in a couple of weeks, and it's just, I'm just getting old.
Well, yeah, the birthdays start to blend together, don't they? Like, sometimes when somebody asks me how old I am, I got to stop and think, and I'm like, I just start doing the math. And
Yes. Oh, yeah, I heard a phrase not too long ago. Somebody says it kind of explains me, too, how I'm going to school at a later age and everything. And I guess it's like learning to dance when the party's almost over,
Wow, kind of sounds depressing, man. Shoes. Hopefully we still have many years of energy to get out there. And, luckily with metal detecting, it's physical. I enjoy the physical piece of it, walking a lot, digging holes. But it is something you can do into your later ages. So I think we're fortunate in that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of people in my club right now are retired. I guess that's the place to be, retired. But you got to keep your shape up. You got to go to the gym, work out, and get out there and walk and do all that. Because later on, when you do retire and you haven't been doing that, you're going to feel it. Trying to go out there and metal detecting and everything. That's bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a friend of mine and I, we went out to a rally in England a couple of years ago, and he kept his pedometer on for the 2 days. I think one day we walked 16 miles, and then the other day we walked 15 miles. And that's just the distance we covered. We're stopping along the way, digging holes and uphill, downhill. So, yeah, I'm glad we were able to do that.
That's crazy, though. 16 or 15 miles? Jeez.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine just going out there. It was I
guess
what is a 5K? What is that? Is that 5 miles or is it?
A 5K is more like 3.5 miles thereabouts.
3.5 miles.
Yeah.
So, geez. I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah. I mean, we didn't realize it at the time when he told me the numbers. I was shocked. But, I guess you start at 9 a.m. and you go out straight for 8 hours until they call you in. You cover a lot of ground.
No, yeah. Yeah, and you don't even realize it. I mean, A lot of times I'll go out metal detecting and be out all day and feel great, and then the next day you really start feeling it. And then the day after that, even you really feel it. You're hurting, your legs are hurting, thighs hurting, everything, like muscles you didn't even know you had are hurting.
Right. I think that the type of property too, like if I'm on an old junky home site, I can do 3-4 hours without any kind of ill effects. But, I remember last summer when it was 95 degrees, I was trying to do an 8-hour day where I was digging holes literally every 6 to 10 inches and I was beat up.
Yes.
It's like I needed some recovery time after that.
Yes, I'm used to that.
Yeah.
That's kind of hunting I usually do. I end up taking my bag back to my truck and emptying it out like a couple times while I'm out, just full of all kinds of stuff. Because a lot of the good stuff you dig it doesn't sound too great. It could be next to a nail, it could be next to a can, it could be next to all kinds of things. You never know.
Yeah. I always say if you're not digging a reasonable target, if you're only digging the stuff that sounds crystal clear and pure, you're missing so much stuff.
Right. I mean, even I've had people say, well, with my metal detector, I don't have to dig up a bunch of trash. But you're missing all the good stuff that's under that trash. You dig up all that trash and you could come back a few weeks later and you pick up a deep signal that was underneath that. And that's the good stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was out about a week ago and, I was filming, doing live digs, and I was listening for the little squeaks in amongst the iron. And to my credit, and perhaps to the Deus's credit, I was finding pieces of copper in between all the rusty nails and junk. Unfortunately, they weren't copper coins. They were just, copper debris. But I mean, it could have been a coin. And if I wasn't chasing those squeaky signals, I could have missed something.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. So we have on XP Team USA, we got a few new field reps, and we were announcing them today. We got a new field rep, Matt Jones from North Carolina has joined XP Team USA, as well as Kendall Atkins from Rhode Island and Cameron Macer from Maryland. Congratulations, guys. Welcome to the team.
Yeah, welcome to the team. And we're actually going to be speaking with Matt Jones tonight. So I'm excited to talk to him. He's not just a metal detectorist, but he also does fossil hunting, Native American artifact hunting. Very interesting guy. So I think we're going to have a lot of good things to talk about.
Yeah, all right.
And if you haven't heard already, we previously had Kendall Atkins on the show. So look into our archives and, bring him up and listen to that show if you haven't already. And we'll make sure to get Cameron Macer on as soon as we can.
Yes. All right. All right. Well, when we come back, we'll talk with Matt Jones. We'll see you.
This is Michael from XP Metal Detectors Americas. Be sure to check out the new XP ORX metal detector, models starting at $649.
If you are looking for more information about XP products such as dealers or updates, then check out MetalDetectorsAmericas.com.
Hello, this is Daniel from XP Metal Detectors Americas, and I just wanted to let you know about the XP Metal Detectors Americas.com website, which is full of information on the Teus metal detector and the ORX metal detector. Both are wireless and do all aspects of metal detecting, which is gold prospecting, coins, jewelry, and relics.
Our guest for today is a treasure hunting veteran, and now he is the newest XP Team USA field rep out of North Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Matt Jones. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Thanks for letting me be here.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us tonight, and welcome to XP Team USA. You have been detecting now for 22 years, and I understand that you blame your grandmother for getting you into it. Can you tell us what that's all about?
Yeah, so when I was about 14, she had a a farmhouse there on the family farm that was built sometime before Lincoln was president. And she was going to basically remodel the house so, tenants could move in and she could make some money off the house instead of it just sitting there vacant. And me and my cousin were ripping out the floorboards in the house, and we noticed a box under the house that was like built onto the floor rafters. And, being me and 14 and a boy, every boy's little dream is to dig buried treasure. So I crawl under the house and bust open this box, and there's a coffee can in there that had, $1,000 in Confederate money in it. And ever since then, I've been hooked.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That is awesome. That is everybody's dream right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Do you still have that money?
I do. It's framed in the house.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's great.
That is pretty cool. So you love getting into the swamps. Did your grandmother even follow you in?
No, that came long after.
Well, so I guess you can't blame her for that, but at least you got the fever from her.
Yeah, I definitely got the fever from her.
All right. So I understand you're married, you've got a 6-year-old daughter, and you run your own business. How do you balance work, family, and your treasure hunting life?
I'm very fortunate. My wife has a really good job. She makes a lot of money, and I have a crew of 5 people that work for me. So most of the time, when I go out, I'll bid a job, and that's really the extent of what I'll do. I'll go inspect it after the job's done, and I'll go there before it starts. And so I get, plenty of time to treasure hunt and travel and, do what I like to do. And I try to spend every other weekend with my daughter. I get her, I have joint custody with my wife. And so I try to get her every weekend. I get her, it's me and daddy-daughter time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've got a 7-year-old daughter, and I understand 100% how important that is.
Oh yeah. 6-year-olds are a handful too. Yeah. So you mentioned having a business. What type of business do you own?
We do commercial renovation work. We do tile and flooring, and we'll do additions onto commercial buildings.
So that's great. That's a kind of business that's always going to provide business, I suppose. There's always a need for that.
Sure there is.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your hunting in swamps. What's the environment like, and some of the hazards that you have to be aware of?
Yeah, so there's, really you never know it varies from swamp to swamp. So some, are liable to have holes that are over your waist. Some will have holes deeper than that. But I go in places that most people will not venture into. And I found that, deep in these swamps is where these big Civil War artillery shells were laying. And, that's more of the style hunting that I enjoy doing. But there is hazards associated with that. There's the possibility of getting trapped. I had a friend of mine had a cut on his hand. He got hysteria, which is a flesh-eating bacteria. He almost lost his hand, metal detecting in the swamp. And, you have to run in with snakes and spiders and sometimes gators, depending on where you're at. And
do you all have leeches at all up there?
There are leeches, but there's really the only time you run into leeches is when there's a lot of fodder, like rotten pine straw and leaves in the bottom of a creek or a swamp. Then you'll run into leeches. But most of the time, you never see one.
Mm-hmm. And when you're in a swamp, can you even see the bottom, or is everything obscure and you're hoping there's no gator or snakes below you?
You can't see the bottom. And most of the places in eastern North Carolina, there's really not any gators until you get up around Wilmington area. But it's kind of hit or miss. You just go in there and hope for the best, really.
Yeah. I don't know if you're ever going to find me in a swamp. So when you're searching for like fossils and Native American artifacts, is there any kind of equipment you need for that? I mean, I know it's not metal, so is there any like special tools that help out?
Yeah, you can. So most people are use traditional tools, such as a flat-headed shovel, and they make a sifter. They nail some 2x4s together and put like some chicken wire on the bottom of it, and that's their sifter that they look for fossils with. Me and a friend of mine, we've actually come out with a tool that we're going to be introducing to the public here pretty soon. It will eliminate the use of a sifter, and hopefully people will start using it and like it, and we'll see where that goes. Other than that, you don't really need anything else.
So as a well-rounded treasure hunter who has tried many different techniques and styles, can you tell us what really drew you to using an XP metal detector?
The light. I like the fact that it's lightweight. I like the fact that it's versatile. I like the fact it breaks down, into like 18 inches, and you can cram it on a bag and put it on a carry-on. I mean, nobody wants to put a machine in their check-in luggage and see it chunked across the plane like a football,
Mm-hmm.
And actually, when I started using XP detectors, I started using Deus when they first came out, and everybody that I hunted with said that it was a calculator on a stick, and they all swung other brand machines, and I stuck with the Deus, so now all those same people you see swinging a Deus. So it's kind of ironic.
Yeah, I know what you mean. when I started using the Deus, I think it was 2013, and I had seen the ads in the magazines, and I just didn't really know about it until I got to see it when I went over to England. So many of the guys over there were using it, and I got to test it out. And I was like, oh, all right, this is a real deal.
Yeah, there's no other machine, in my opinion, on the market that has the iron separation capabilities that XP has. There's just I've hunted plenty of sites that I've hunted with other machines, and I've gone through with an XP, and I plug out coins and buttons and bullets that a dozen other machines have missed. And I'll never go back to another machine ever.
Yeah. So being from North Carolina, you live in an absolutely great area for metal detecting, and you have the chance to search for both Civil War and Revolutionary War artifacts. When you're going out detecting, what are you mainly after? Do you have a preference of the kind of artifacts you're looking for?
Well, I started off looking for Civil War artifacts, Civil War relics, and there's so much competition now that looks for Civil War relics. I kind of quit looking for camps, with bullets and buttons and all, and I concentrated on big artillery, big iron. Most of the people that hunted, early 70s and 80s, they were after the belt buckles and the high dollar buttons and all, and they were avoiding the big iron. And so for about the past 7 years or so, I concentrated on nothing but artillery. And, and I'll map out trajectory lines, and I'll go and hunt. And that's my preference. Is I prefer to go find Civil War artillery, but it's not available year round. When that's not, I'll look for colonial relics, colonial home sites.
Got it. So when you're doing your research, you kind of try to find out where the battles were, and then you're taking that step further to figure out, all right, if I'm here and I'm launching artillery, it might land around here, and that's how you pinpoint your spots.
Yeah, you can, without really revealing too much, you can find like a fort that, was well known that, fired artillery. It's kind of hard to do off of a ship because you don't know where a ship was. But if you find a fort, then you can go online and you can see what kind of shells they were firing, and then you can reference that with how far they would travel when they were shot out of a particular cannon. Go to Google Earth and you can draw lines out to that extent of where they would have gone and kind of search that area, and that's kind of how we come up with what we find.
Amazing.
And we'll be right back with Matt Jones right after this.
This segment is brought to you by Omega Mill Pouches, the official digging pouch of XP Team USA. If you're looking for a rugged, hunt-tested, washable pouch, look no further than Omega Mill. Get on eBay and search Omega Mill Pouches. That's OMEGAMILL.
And we're back with Matt Jones. All right, yeah. So when it comes to like bottle hunting, is this in the form of privy digging?
Sometimes, there's plenty of old houses, really anything 1915 or before. You can go to these old houses and, go probe around with a probe and, locate the privy and find, all kinds of stuff. But there are, there's bottle dumps in just about every town. Most people just don't realize it. But, you can go through these bottle dumps and use the same technique as privy digging with a probe, and probe down 3 or 4 foot in the ground and, pull out some really nice stuff.
Is there a general location where you would think this would be the privy on this property and that's where you start probing, or do you just kind of randomly guess where you think it would be?
So there's a couple ways you can do that too. So you can look on Google, you can look up a Sanborn fire insurance map. A lot of times the map will not show the privy location, but it will show a little box in like the back corner of the property with an X in it. And most of the time that signifies the privy. 9 times out of 10, a privy will either be on the left-hand corner or the right-hand corner of a property. If it's not there, it's right out the back door, like right up beside the house. Generally speaking, one of those 3 spots, you can find a privy on your property.
Well, that's interesting because you described perfectly. There's a house I detect on that was built in 1838. And right at the left corner, the privy's actually still there, and they've kind of built something around it. So I haven't had a chance to explore it. But way in the backyard, about an acre away, in the back left corner, I believe there's a bottle dump because I've dug up a lot of broken glass and things. I'll have to go back and investigate that further. So it's interesting that there's a kind of a plan to that.
Yeah, they didn't want to walk too far in the cold. They wanted to walk out their back door and walk right into the privy. And they wanted to keep it on the opposite side of the well. They didn't want to go get well out of the water and then smell the privy, right beside it. So normally whichever side the well was on, the privy was opposite side of that.
Does that ever get pretty tedious when you're looking for the bottles and you just find broken glass over and over and over, and you never find the bottles? Or
oh yeah, yes, it's about like anything else. If you're at a house site and you get a great signal and you dig down and it's a Pepsi can, at 2 foot, it's the same difference. Privy digging.
Yeah.
You're liable to find 100 straight side Pepsi bottles that are all broken and not a single one whole. So it does get frustrating.
I imagine, but the rewards are definitely in the form of really, really cool bottles. I mean, when those things come out of the ground intact, and they're lovely. So over the summer, you started your YouTube channel called Swamp Critter. Are you the actual critter, or are you giving a nod to the wildlife you have to deal with?
No, I guess I'm the actual swamp critter. A friend of mine came down to hunt with me about the beginning of the summer, and he kind of told me that I needed to start another YouTube page, and I said, well, I don't really know, what to call myself, and he said, come up with something, that's neat and that, people can recognize you with, and I said, well, I don't know, give me a name, and he's like, you're always treading around through the swamps, you kind of look like a swamp critter, and it kind of stuck, So.
It works. It's catchy. It's easy to remember too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in your videos, we see you finding some pretty amazing stuff, including some huge whale bones. How do you know that that's the bone and not like logs like somebody like me would think?
I don't know if that's a question I can answer or not. Really a bone is, it'll have marrow in the end of it, it'll have the marrow holes. Mm-hmm. It's real dense. It'll be real heavy. And, most rib bones are curved just like rib bones, your body are. But you can tell the difference between a bone and, like, say, a piece of fossilized wood. Fossilized wood will be, solid, heavy. You can hit it with a rock, and it gives off like an iron sound, like a coin hitting a piece of iron. As to where bone, won't be that. Bone will be real porous, and it'll still be heavy, but it'll be black more than likely. Versus, wood is not. Wood would be different colors. I can't really answer that really good because.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard for somebody like me to even know if it's like from a deer or just a horse or what. It's.
Yeah, now I can't tell you all that. Now, I haven't been fossil hunting long enough, to really be able to tell what kind of animal it came from. I just go off of what people have told me, judging by, size-wise,
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's a good market for certain types and sizes of shark teeth. Is there a good market for whale bones, like whale fossils?
No, and I try not to sell anything that I find. I've only ever sold, maybe 1 or 2 pieces of my entire life. And, that was just times that I had to get rid of it. But, as fossil wise, it seems like the megalodon teeth and the great white teeth, there's a great market for those. Everybody wants them. But bone is one of those things that, you could take to a show and you just give it to a kid, walking by that would like to have a fossil. There's really no value in the bone.
So how much more challenging is it to spot a fossil or a Native American artifact since there's no equipment to really sound off on them? Is it all eyesight, knowledge?
So you kind of go up these rivers and creeks, and you look for, gravel beds in the bottom of these creeks and rivers, and then you look for formation, in the side of the banks, for the shell formation, and it's pretty obvious. I mean, you can't, really miss it. You'll see a blue clay with, oyster shells sticking all out of it. And, so then you get in the creek with your shovel and your sifter or your rake or whatever, and you're liable to spend 4 or 5 hours in one spot, throwing gravel into your screen, and then you might get, 1 or 2 teeth every couple hours. It's actually pretty back-breaking work, but, the reward is great, if you find one.
Oh, yeah. I've seen them videos on YouTube or on Facebook where some guys just starts filming and in a creek, and you got water there, and he's staring at it for a little bit, and they just reach down and they pull this big old arrowhead that's all halfway buried out of there, and there's no way I would ever recognize that at all. Is that real, or is that like just for show?
Well, I think it's about like anything else. Us guys that are in the hobby of metal detecting, we know little twerks and tricks and all, that help us recover a target, quicker. And we're liable to see something, like a military button, laying on top of the ground, as to where somebody that looks for arrowheads, wouldn't know what that is. He liable to think it's just a shotgun shell.
Yeah.
And, maybe these guys, that hunt arrowheads all the time, they know what they're looking for, and, they can see it as to where we wouldn't.
So when you're going out searching, whether it's, metal detecting aside, so when you're searching for fossils or Native American artifacts, how does that research differ than what you might do for metal detecting?
Well, there's no, not to my knowledge, there's really no known recordings of like, go here to find fossils. It's all legwork. You get in a kayak, you paddle up these creeks and these rivers, you get out of the boat, you dig a couple test holes, and either it's there or it's not. If we're metal detecting, there's maps for homes, there's official records for Civil War, there's there's documents that colleges for colonial home sites, where none of that is for Indian artifacts and fossils. So it's a total different world between the two.
I got a couple of questions I want to ask you too. If the metal detecting industry was to come out with something, a new tool for you to help you out with anything that you do, what do you think would be the new thing that you would wish would come out?
So there's two things that I would like to see come out. I would like to see somebody come out with a machine that doesn't hear aluminum, for one. That's everybody's worst enemy, is a pull tab or a Pepsi can. I mean, they're everywhere. And if somebody could come out with some technology that could perhaps see an arrowhead or something like that under the sand, kind of like a ground penetrating radar that's handheld, that would be absolutely phenomenal. I'd love to see something like that.
Oh yeah, that would be. Yeah, and one more thing, if you got a free pass to hunt anywhere in the United States that's always been off limits to metal detecting, where would you go?
Ooh, that's a tough one there. I would probably say, I got to think about that one for a minute. I'd probably say, I'm sure, I know people have hunted Gettysburg, but I'd say I'd like to go to Gettysburg, and hunt Gettysburg battlefield.
Yeah. There's just some amazing historic and meaningful artifacts under the ground there.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Oh, definitely. Well, Matt, we could talk to you all night, and we definitely want to have you on the show again, but thanks a lot for chatting with us.
Sure.
And welcome to the XP Team USA family.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, welcome. And like Dave said, we'd love to have you on again. And I know we'll be talking a lot now, and looking forward to everything you're going to post and your more videos. Everybody go onto YouTube and search for Swamp Critter. He's got some really great stuff out there.
I appreciate it, guys.
All right. We'll see you.
Check us out online at xpdeus-usa.com.
XP has introduced its new ORX machine, a high-end machine at a mid-range price. The ORX has 4 factory preset programs, 2 gold, 2 coins, also 2 user programs. The ORX comes with a high-frequency coil and is compatible with the X35 coils. The ORX is now available in the USA. All right, we're back, and that was Matt Jones. Great talking to him.
It was really great talking to him. I tell you, I want to get in the water. After listening to the Minnesota Beach Boys and his adventures in swamps, I don't know if I'm going to get in a swamp. I'll be honest with you. But if I can get into some water where I can see my feet, I'd like to do that.
Yeah, that Dysteria thing, that's scary.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I've seen pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's no way.
Right. But again, make sure you guys check him out on YouTube at Swamp Critter. He's got some great videos. And, speaking of videos, the XP Team USA channel, we've got a lot of stuff coming on. We've actually been releasing a couple videos a week, it seems. I've got one about called The Traitor's Treasure, where I detected a known British loyalist, possibly a British spy's property. Lenny Quellen has some videos out, Minnesota Beach Boys. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, and also the Junkman Tim Glick has a few videos on his way as well.
I can't wait for those. I always enjoy seeing Tim. He's so passionate and full of life, and he's for sure going to have some good stuff for us.
Oh yeah, and everybody, don't eat up all your kids' candy. Let them have some of it. All right, we'll see y'all November 15th, and we'll be talking with Thomas Barnes. Thomas Barnes is the owner of Evolved Outdoor Expeditions, and from North Carolina. He has a little TV show that he's had online, and he's a very interesting guy who does a lot of fossils and even flint napping.
Yeah, that's quite amazing to do that primitive artifact making with primitive tools or current tools, however he's going to use them. I'm really excited to hear about that.
Yeah, I just think that knowing that kind of skills, that's some good skills to have. You're out in the woods, you get lost, or or whatever happens, you always got that skill to make the knife or make a tool or something like that. That's really cool kind of thing to do.
Agreed. Yeah, I can't wait.
Well, we'll see everybody November 15th.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Get that permission, put the coil to the soil, and we'll see you next time right here on the XP Team USA podcast.